Now, the Catholic social teaching talks about good governance and for the common good.
Yeah.
How do you think the church can help Catholic politicians to promote the common good and the good governance that we all yearn for?
Well, the church has influence over its members in terms of the moral exhortations they pass on. You know, as a child, when you start, you continue to receive these teachings, and they will become part of your life. If these things get into your blood, they will continue to regulate what you do. If you find yourself in leadership, first of all, the Catholic Church teaches common good, you know, and common good can only come about through good governance. So those who are in authority, that are Catholics, are always reminded by the church that you have to do that will promote common good, something that will benefit everybody. Don't go there and become selfish in pursuit of your selfish aggrandizement. You compromise the interests of ordinary people and general people. So it's part of the Catholic teaching that of all the things you do, you should think about the good of all. And when you place everybody in consideration in all that you do, you find out that most times you'll be on the right path, you know. But you see, you need personal discipline to be able to pursue common good, because the society is such that so many things stand on their way to actually do that you need to do. So you have to be spiritually strong to be able to do that. Just yesterday or last night, yes, last night, I saw, because I go online, I follow Catholic programs online. You know, I listen to homilies of bishops that are online, like Bishop Godfrey Ona of Nsukka Diocese, who is always spitting fire. Vocal. You know, very vocal. You know, I listen to his homilies over time. Once I wake up around maybe 5 a.m., I go to the newsreel, the video reel, and I start seeing all these things. I listen to them. I saw where my own bishop, Most Reverend Politis Okafor, Catholic Bishop of Nsukka Diocese, preached a very brief but very strong homily during the commencement of the legal year in Anambra State. So judges were there, dressed in their robes, you know, and he told them how disappointed Nigerians have become over the Nigerian judiciary, you know. So he spoke very boldly and told them that the judiciary is no longer the hope of the common man. That some of the judgments we have seen recently have crushed the hope of the ordinary man. And they challenged them that there are some who are noble judges, people with integrity, but if you have 5 judges that are corrupt, if you have 50 and you have 5 judges that are corrupt, the activities of the 50 can mess your name up. So he charged them to be upright, to dispense justice without fear or favor, knowing that after they pass their judgments in this world, there's another judge waiting for everybody, and that is God Almighty. When you die, you come before God. When you close your eyes in death, you move on that journey alone. And when you land, somebody will judge you. Yeah. And God will judge you with the judgments you handed down as a judge when you are in the world. So if you remember that, when matters come before you for adjudication, you should be upright, remembering that there's another judge beyond the Supreme Court the judge that created heaven and earth will judge the justices of the Supreme Court. So when you stay in your majestic throne and hand down wrong judgments, with glee, some other person is taking record for you. By the time you leave here, they will review your judgments when you leave the world. God will review your judgments.
Okay.
So it is the contributions that the church makes to the society through the leadership of the church. The Catholic Church in Nigeria has been very firm in condemning social justice, condemning actions of government that do not promote common good. That common good we are talking about. I'm sure you saw the communique that came out from the Bishops' Conference that held in Abuja.
Yes.
No other church was able to produce such communique. People will condemn aspects of this, but the church descended heavily, both on the Electoral Commission, on the election conducted in 2023. They didn't spare anything. They spoke the way they saw it. And having said that, they follow again. Because one thing is to point out the ills of the society without any frustration. Those who have ears will hear. Those who have ears will hear. And such strong words coming from the church at trying times, I tell you, those who are in authority, they are listening. They try to moderate their actions, because you cannot be in outright confrontation with the church. If you do that, you know that you are missing the steps.
Dear viewers, this is Spotlight on Catholic Television of Nigeria, and we've been discussing with the Nigerian Senator, Senator Victor Umeh. Please stay tuned, don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, the program is Spotlight on Catholic Television of Nigeria. And today we have in the studio the Senator representing Anambra Central Senatorial District, Senator Victor Umeh, OFR. Senator, before we went on break, we were talking about the contribution of the church to the common good and how the church has been able to speak out during difficult times. Now, we want to look at another aspect of politics, which is talking about restructuring. Some people say that restructuring have the magic wand to solving our problems and resource control. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I was a delegate to the National Conference in 2014, where we, through 600 resolutions, proffered far-reaching restructuring programs for Nigeria. So as a member of that conference, the answer is already known to you, where I stand on restructuring. I'm a very strong supporter and proponent of restructuring in Nigeria. Nigeria came together as an amalgamation in 2014, and the country was unprepared to coexist as one indivisible country. We got into a forced union between the Northern and Southern Protectorate, and since then, this union had lasted till today. And you can see that the various things we have done over the years have not been able to get Nigeria as a truly united country. This is a country that has over 300 ethnic nationalities, speaking different tongues. We have different religions as well. we have Christianity, we have Islam, we have non-believers, we have all manners of people in Nigeria, all joined together as one nation, you know. Because of our diversities, we have not been able to achieve the desired national goals because we are always divided. If we are not divided along tribal lines, we are divided along religious lines. So the nation is constantly on tussle with itself because the operators of the nation have not put themselves above these considerations. They've not lifted themselves above tribal considerations. They've not lifted themselves above religious considerations. So in Nigeria, at all times, we have continued to see ourselves either as Christians versus Muslims or Hausa, Fulani against Yoruba, Igbo, and all the rest of the ethnic nationalities. So the country is in need of healing so that we should be able to find a way of unbundling the country, restructuring it into units of homogeneous people. You know, if this group can largely stay together, let them stay together. You know, we had 4 regional arrangements before the balkanization of the country into 36 states by the military. At the time, we had 4 regions. People were more homogeneous in their relationships. The Western region was purely Yorubas. The Eastern region was mainly the Igbos with some ethnic minorities in the Eastern region, like the Efiks, the Bibios, the part of the Jaws. But the major ethnic group in the Eastern region was Igbo. You know, in the Midwest, it was the same thing. You know, so you see Igbos and the Bini people coming together in the Midwestern region. Because the units were more homogeneous, they tolerated each other. And governance was easy. Development was pursued on the basis of brotherhood. You know, in northern Nigeria, the Hausas and the Fulanis were in the majority, even though in the Middle Belt, where we have so many ethnic nationalities, they were able to be loyal to the northern Nigerian leadership at the time. You know, it is just now that there is so much distortion up north. So restructuring is something that is imperative. One, you create units to have confidence on themselves, that they can pursue common development agenda. You know, Nigeria is too large. Nigeria is too large. It would have been a strength, but because we have not been able to live above primordial sentiments of religion and tribe, the country has continued to suffer. So I think restructuring Nigeria will benefit everybody. We can become still Nigeria, but let us have different structure of governance so that everybody will trust each other and you move on. If you become a president of Nigeria, you probably become a ceremonial president and everybody sees you, everybody will be happy with you because you don't wield so much powers. But when you wield so much powers and they want to use the powers to the benefit of your own people alone, you draw the anger of the other groups. You know, so if you've seen Nigeria how power struggle is, every group will want to take leadership because here, he who gets it takes everything. The Nigerian president is very powerful, So once he arrives on the seat, he becomes so powerful, and all other people will be at his mercy.
Okay.
So we need to unbundle, restructure, decentralize government activities, and if we do that, we will be more relaxed to pursue development agenda of the country, yes.
Okay, talking about the presidency, now we have some school of thought that believe that if we have one single term of 6 years, it will be better than having 2 terms of 4 years each. Do you think that will be able to solve a problem?
Well, it's a proposition that is purely driven because of our controversial elections. Because we've not been able to conduct credible elections in Nigeria over time. The person who is on seat, because he's entitled to a second term, we want to do everything to get second term at all costs. That will make it 8 years. Yeah. So people started thinking how we can make our elections more peaceful, less combative, less desperate, because desperation to achieve a second term is responsible for so many woes we have in our democracy. So that school of thought thinks that if we have a single term of 6 years, there will be no contest for a second term, and the country will be more peaceful. That will be 6 years. Well, if the country wants it, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that the problem we have is our inability to organize transparent elections in transition. So from one tenure to the other, anybody who has the baton would never want anybody to take it. So that's why people are proposing 6 years. But America has operated 4-year term, renewable ones, and they've been doing it for over 100 years. Nothing has happened. And America is very large, like Nigeria, multi-ethnic, and so on, and multi-racial, multi-religious as well. So, although Americans have predominantly Christians in their population.
Okay, as we wind down the interview, I would like you to say 1 or 2 things concerning the 5 billion naira given to states to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal. Do you think that has been able to solve the problem and the suffering in the country?
I spoke against the 5 billion naira. That was 500 billion that the president intended to give to states to provide palliatives to Nigerians for their suffering following the removal of the oil subsidy. I reasoned that at that time, the president's proposal was to give 8,000 naira to 12 million homes or so. And I said, 8,000 naira a month to 12 million homes. 8,000 cannot keep any home in Nigeria of today for one day. How much more for 1 month? So I reasoned that what was responsible for the hardship we confronted immediately, or that confronted us immediately following the removal of the subsidy, was because we couldn't build refineries. We couldn't rehabilitate or maintain the refineries we had before. They went down. There was a time in Nigeria that Kaduna refinery was refining crude, Warri refinery was refining crude, Eleme petrochemical company, Eleme refinery was refining crude. So petrol was everywhere. Diesel was everywhere. Kerosene was everywhere. But people ran these facilities down, and government shamelessly allowed these refineries to pack up for over 2 decades. To restart each of these plants now will require so much money. The president has promised that in 2024 December, Port Harcourt refinery will come on stream again in a turnaround maintenance program. By that time, many people would have died. So I said, instead of using the 500 billion naira to make a useless palliative, that 500 billion naira would have been channeled towards building refinery, so that you know that there's an end time to this importation of petroleum products. So that was what I said. So whether they have given the 5 billion to states now or FCT, I don't know. But the first disbursement they made was 2 billion. You know, at that time, I think about 185 billion naira was released to states. I don't know the corresponding releases ever since. But the government has introduced another palliative, the cash transfer program, 25,000 naira to 15 million vulnerable people. As you know, with all arrangements, this is not a country where you have reliable data. How will you generate the data of those people who are considered vulnerable to be entitled to this money? We're talking about going to register people, both in the markets and in various communities, to be able to get people who will be qualified to receive this money. So the implementation will still be something that we are holding our breaths, imagining how they'll be able to get it right. You know, whether you'll be able to capture the people the government intends to give this money to, whether the money will reach them. So the palliatives, the 5 billion to states and 500 billion total, you see, the impact is not there yet. Yeah. We are more anxious that the government takes steps to begin to refine these products in Nigeria. Because once they're available, the problems will abate. Petrol is now 630 going to 700 naira per liter, you know, because you don't have it stored. As soon as the subsidy was removed, it jumped from 145, 180 to 537 within the pronouncement. Meters were adjusted to 537. Today is 630.
Some places 640.
Some places 640. Some 650. In Enugu, about 650 on Saturday. So some say 655. And because there is no date for a refinery to come on stream in Nigeria, there's no end in sight.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you very much for giving us this time to talk to our viewers about set issues of national importance and our faith. Well, viewers, we've been speaking for the past 30 minutes or so with the senator representing Anambra Senatorial District, Senator Victor Umeh, OFR. He is the chairman, Senate Committee on Diaspora, and the former national chairman of ABGA. Thank you very much for your time. We hope
Thank you very much.
Next time.
Yeah. Keep doing the great work you are doing with Catholic Television.
Thank you.
It's a very worthy effort to keep propagating the faith.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
This is where we drop the anchor for today's edition of Spotlight on Catholic Television. Please stay tuned to more programs on Catholic Television of Nigeria. My name is Tony Abba. Bye for now.